Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And one of my favorite segments is back. That's right, because you all demanded it. Hidden Gems is back. This is the segment where I take a look at graphic novels, collected editions that don't get enough of a spotlight, recognition, and I love talking about these hidden gems. So join me. And welcome back, everybody. Now, before I go any further, I do want to remind people to smash that like button. That goes a long way for us here on the channel. It does mean the world to us, and it's a very small thing you can do to help us out. And we are also on Patreon and Spreadshop, amazing ways to support the channel, and big thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible. So if you're new to the channel, if you just joined in the last couple of months, I usually take a break because I'm focusing on like the best of 2023, that was last year, and a bunch of lists that I like to make, and it kind of puts a toll on my reading, so I take a step back and stop doing this segment around that time, but I always try to bring it back in January, and here we are. So I am going to be talking about 5 books, whether they're in more than just one, that some of them are a one and done, or some, actually all of these are finished now, or maybe on hiatus. But anyway, these are books that don't get a lot of love and recognition out there. I don't hear enough people talk about these books, and I think they need to be recognized. Now, of course, it's all subjective. You all may think that some of these books that I mentioned are complete garbage, but one man's garbage is another man's, well, you all know. All right, let's go ahead and start with Port of Earth by Zach Kaplan and Andre Moody, published by Image Comics, but it is put out by Top Cow, but Image is the one that publishes the book. This is a book that's older teen, and a big thank you to Darkstar916 for sending me a copy of this many years ago. So I have done a review of this particular series. And when I say series, this is 1 in 3 volumes, so there's going to be 3 volumes available out there somewhere. And to kind of give you the pitch of this is all set in a possible future where Earth is just taken over by aliens, but not in the way that you would think. They're taken over by aliens because aliens have made a deal with the Earth government to supply us with all kinds of different water-based powers and different ways that we can look at things like medicine. And in exchange for that, they have built a port for their spaceships, and they've built this port at this water station around San Francisco. So it's on the coast of San Francisco, and that's what they need as fuel: water. And that's what we have a lot of: water. So that's what the transaction is. Now, of course, there are people upset here because we've gotten rid of fossil fuel, we're getting rid of all kinds of solar and nuclear power, and that's costing a lot of people their jobs. So not everybody's happy with aliens coming over here and just using Earth as a port. And of course, some aliens kind of go and wander around, even though they're supposed to stick around the port. So what the Earth did was make an Earth security agency, and that agency is supposed to keep aliens in there. Now, what ends up happening is that there is a particular alien that gets out of the port and could be responsible for killing people, innocent people. So the ESA sends out 2 of its agents. So the story follows these 2 agents. You have Agent George Rice and Agent Eric McIntyre. And they go and explore where this alien could have been. Could it be in this little small town? But the big thing about the story is that when they capture the alien, they're not supposed to kill it. They're not supposed to do anything but take it back to the port. And it is a little bit of a slow burn. It's not a fast-paced book because it kind of does a lot of the world building through these interview formats that you get to see 2 people speaking on television, talking about the state of the world. But I really enjoyed this. This is 3 volumes, and every one of these was great. And I just found out a couple weeks ago that they are doing a deluxe edition. So some of you out there also enjoy this particular book. And they're doing that deluxe edition that comes out in July. But what could all this mean? Could this alien that got away, could it be part of this big conspiracy theory? Or is it a story about the police procedural or the deep state of suspense? What exactly is going on? Is there a big galactic war that's coming to Earth? Regardless, it kept me at the edge of my seats, and I cannot wait for people to check it out in case you haven't, and I'm so glad they're putting it out in a deluxe edition because Moody's artwork is just so awesome, and I had a wonderful chance to interview him, and if you haven't seen that interview, I'll put the link above. But yes, Port of Earth is what's kicking off this segment. Elixir by Frank J. Marmory, Ricky Mamone, and Victor Santos, published by Dark Horse Comics. As a matter of fact, this one came out last year. It was published digitally, and then they decided to release it as a graphic novel. And this one is Teen Plus, and it's all in one. There is enough. It is labeled as a volume 1, and there is enough for a possible future volume, but I think it's wrapped up nicely in this one. Now, the pitch of this one is this is taking place in an alternate reality. By the way, I love that movie trailers don't do that anymore. They don't have a voice, the movie voice telling you in a world or in a possible future. You're just kind of thrown into the madness. And I kind of like that because that's what happens here. You're thrown into the madness of this alternate world. But anyway, you have two factions. You have the faction that relies on magic, and then you have that relies on technology. And here we have the druids. So the druids are the ones that are holding on to the past, and that past is pretty much magic. And Mara is a druid. She's the protector of magic and bastion against the evils of technology. And then when one of her own goes rogue, she's enlisted by her mother to hunt him down. Now, she's going after this mysterious artifact, which is the title of the story, called the Elixir. And the Elixir is something, it's your MacGuffin, but it can reshape the world. But the problem comes when it is her old mentor that has gone rogue, and that's who she has to stop. So there are a series of flashbacks that explains, how she was trained by him, what exactly her capabilities are, and, what happened to her sister, her relationship to her mother. I thought this was a really fun and quick read. It's got a lot of action in here, and the artwork, oh my gosh, it's just so good. It's a good mix of, Darwin Cook's bodies and faces with a little bit of Michael Avon Oeming's faces, but you throw in that Frank Miller chiaroscuro. Oh my gosh, loved it. I love the color tones they use in here, the contrast. It's great and a really quick read. Now this is only available in trade paperback and no hardcover or anything like that. Last Pick by Jason Walls, published by First Second, and this one here is all ages. And I love recommending all ages books through here, just as much as I love recommending mature books. But I realize that there's a lot of people that watch my channel that have kids or have nephews, nieces, or neighbors' kids or cousins. Whatever it is, I just love the idea of kids reading. Graphic novels was a great way for me to learn English and comic books. But I think it also helps just expand that brain. I love to see kids read comics. So definitely recommending this one. This one was a lot of fun. This is 3 volumes and it's done. And they're all available in this little hardcover format. They're a little bit smaller than your trade paperbacks. So the premise of this one is another alien invasion. But unlike Port of Earth, this one is an actual invasion. And the invasion is really interesting because it's a whole mystery. So the premise of this one is aliens invaded Earth, and in a series of flashbacks, you find out that they've taken everybody that is between the ages of 16 to 65 that are healthy and fit, and left everyone else behind here on Earth. So that's what this is about. So we are dealing with two of our protagonists. We have Sam and Wyatt, who are twins. Samantha is the more active one. She's the daring one. She's the one that goes out there and fights. She goes on raids to gather the supplies, while Wyatt is more of the, I'm going to sit back and play with technology. He's also the brains behind the operation, but he really struggles with reading facial cues and understanding social interactions. And I really like the dynamic between them. It's a beautiful, beautiful story about brother and sister. And the sister, the oldest one, of course, or because they're twins, she was born first, I think. She feels like she needs to protect them because that is the promise she made her parents. So her parents were taken. Their parents were taken. And it's all this mystery as to why the parents were taken. And what ends up happening here is they are working with technology and they're trying to find out exactly where everyone on Earth, primarily their parents, were taken. But aliens have noticed that the twins are running around getting a bunch of technology and they're closing in on them. So it kind of becomes a survival type of story. The artwork is really clear and crisp and easy to follow, so that's why I'm definitely recommending it for all ages. And again, available in a series of 3 hardcovers that wrapped up 2018, I think is when the first one came out. It wrapped up in 2021, so all are available through First Second. So absolutely recommending this one. Brilliant Trash by Tim Seeley, Steve Seeley, and Patricia Patraitis. And this one is published by Aftershock Comics. This is one that is all one and done, so you don't need anything else after this. But it does leave, this is another one that leaves as a cliffhanger that there could be more. And this is one for teens, teen plus. On this segment, and usually when I talk about books that I recommend, I like to recommend books that are easy to follow, books that people can just jump in, even though you're lost at the beginning, you know, not knowing when exactly things are taking place, it immediately catches you up to speed within the first few pages. This one is completely different. This is for for those people that really enjoy a what the hell is going on? Kind of like the way that Jonathan Hickman writes, or sometimes Kieran Gillen writes. I really enjoyed this book, but I'm not gonna lie. It is a slow, confusing burn at first. It's not until you get to about the third, or about half the book that you're like, oh, okay, that's where we're going with this. Now, I'm going to give you the pitch, and the pitch might be a little confusing too, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, so this one here, it begins with this internet displaying a live broadcast of this young lady named Lady Lastword. And she's making a plea to humanity. She wants all of humanity to succeed, but she realizes that the world won't understand unless things are simpler. Throughout history, people have died for you, she claims. Me, you, he, she, everyone, we're all humanity. It's really, like, so freaking cryptic the way she talks. And what ends up happening is towards the end of the broadcast, a light comes out of her head, and there's a huge light that just goes all over the internet, and the picture goes dead, and then a part of Jerusalem is missing in the fiery blast. So comments online immediately pop up that this is just a hoax, nice special effects, a bunch of terrorists sending out their messages. But there are people that believe that maybe this is not a hoax. Maybe Lady Lastword was actually a superhuman, an inhuman, if you will. And one of those people is this young lady named Capricorn Hallie, who works for her own website. It's called the I Know. Now, her exact opposite, Capricorn Hallie, by the way, is an awesome freaking name, if that's her real name. But anyway, her exact opposite, who works at this trash clickbaity site, is named Kennedy Avis. And it's through both of them that you kind of try to get the picture together of what exactly is going on. Is this a fake thing that happened? What happened to Israel? Was it a terrorist bombing? Or is it really superpowered people that cannot control their abilities? And I think that's why I enjoyed the book so much, because this book deals with just about everything, while on the surface it seems like a superhero book. Because in here you have terrorism, genetic augmentation, religious fanaticism. There's just lots and lots of heavy topics this book tries to cover, and it does it in such a short amount of time. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie, it is really confusing at first, but it was really fun. And it's just one of those books that when you put things together, when you start seeing things that are being explained, not necessarily spoon-fed to you, but just kind of being explained through background characters or through some text that's on a TV in the background of a panel, I think I enjoy things like that. It honestly kind of reminded me a little bit of V for Vendetta when you don't know exactly what is happening, but you kind of find out throughout the story. So I really enjoyed it. This is only in trade paperbacks, and it's 1 volume, but I don't know if there'll be a second one or not. But I think it wraps up nicely. Last, but certainly not least, is Deathbed by Joshua Williamson and Riley Rossmo. This is published by DC. It's their Vertigo label, though. So maybe when it gets reprinted, it'll be a Black Label book. So I've talked about all ages. I've talked about Teen Plus. Let's get to some mature content. And this is a super fast-paced story. This is definitely for people that are not easily offended by sex, violence, and language. And if you're not, this book might be for you. So it is the story of Antonio Luna, who is the most interesting man in the world. At least everybody knew that he was, until 20 years ago when he just mysteriously vanished from the public eye. Now, the 90-year-old has returned and wants to tell his story on his deathbed. And this is where we meet our other character, Valentine Richards. So Val is a failed novelist who's turned into a reporter. She's always wanted to write stories and books, but unfortunately, this is the type of life that she is living for now. So she finally gets to meet him. She travels to Luna's remote castle home and uncovers that he's been there all these years on his deathbed. He's telling her all these crazy stories about hidden temples and treasures, but also aliens and the moon and spaceships, and she doesn't know quite what to believe until a group of assassins come after him as he's laying on his deathbed, and he gets up completely naked and it shows that he is completely okay. Like, he's fighting, he's cutting off all these dudes' heads, and she pretty much just asked him, "You've been lying about being on your deathbed?" And he was like, "Yes, I wanted to get the attention of my enemy." Because what's happening is somebody is going and killing all these people from his past and kind of trying to erase him from history for some reason. And that's where the mystery began. So him and Val go together on this journey across Paris, across the world, may take them to space to find out who is trying to erase his story. And was any of this true? So through Val, we get to find out if the character of Antonio Luna was actually the most interesting man in the world, or if he was just some kind of big hoax. And yeah, really enjoyed this one. It's a lot of fun. And Rosmo's artwork, oh my gosh, it's so good throughout this. This is an all-in-one. There's nothing after this, and it's all available in trade paperback format. Now, if you're interested in purchasing any of these hidden gems, check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And those were the hidden gems for the month of January of 2024. In the comments down below, let me know which ones of these you've read, which ones piqued your interest, what books you suggest I read. I love when you all have suggestions. I've found a lot of my hidden gems throughout the years from you all, and thank you all that have been watching my channel for so long, and thank you all that just started watching my channel. And if you have suggestions, by all means, doesn't mean just because you've been reading comics for like 6 months that you won't have suggestions. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of type of stories, some that I've not even heard about. I have not read it all, believe me, not even all my books here in the library. But that's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.